Your English isn't stuck. Your consistency is. And the reason you keep starting over isn't lack of talent. It's the way your mornings are set up to fail. Let's fix that with a 7-day reset. Not a fantasy routine, not a 4 a.m. miracle, not some motivational nonsense. A real plan you can do, even if you work long hours, even if you're tired, even if you've failed before. Here's the promise. In 7 days, you'll rebuild the habit so your English stops depending on mood and starts running like a system. You won't become fluent in a week. Anyone selling that is lying to your face. But you will become consistent in a week. And consistency is what creates fluency. This is a morning routine, because mornings are where consistency lives or dies. At night, you're busy. At night, you're exhausted. At night, you're, tomorrow I'll do it. Morning is the only time most people can control. And before you roll your eyes and say, I'm not a morning person, listen carefully. I'm not asking you to wake up early. I'm asking you to wake up and do one small set of actions before your day starts stealing your attention. That's it. The structure is simple. 15 to 25 minutes every morning for 7 days. If you can do more, great. If you can only do 10 minutes, do 10. The point is not intensity. The point is repetition. One rule that makes this work. For 7 days, you use one resource only. 1. Not 5 apps, not 3 YouTube teachers, not random videos, not, I'll just try this new method. That's how weak people stay busy and stay the same. You want results? You pick one resource and you commit. Your one resource can be a short podcast episode series, a YouTube channel with clear, simple English, a graded reader with audio, a TV show with short scenes, a dialogue pack or shadowing playlist. But choose something you can repeat. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is how your brain learns. Now, let's build the reset. Day 1 starts tomorrow morning. And day 1 is not study harder. Day 1 is setup. Because most people fail before they even begin. They wake up, check their phone, get pulled into messages, news, drama, and by the time they remember English, the day is already running them. So on day 1, we create a tiny protected space. Here's your day 1 routine. Step 1. Remove friction. You prepare your English station the night before. Phone charged, headphones ready, notebook open. The exact link or audio file already loaded. No searching, no choosing, no decisions. Decisions kill habits. Step 2. Choose your one resource. Pick one piece of content you can use all week. Ideally, it's 1 to 3 minutes long. Yes, that's short. If you pick a 20-minute video, you'll skip today the first time you're tired. Short content gives you 0 excuses. Step 3. Set the timer. Minimum 15 minutes. If you're busy, 10 minutes. But you set a timer so you don't negotiate with yourself. Step 4. Define your success. Success is not, I understood everything. Success is, I showed up. If you keep using understanding as your success metric, you'll quit every time it feels hard. Showing up is the win. Now, day 1. Practice itself is easy. You listen to your chosen clip 3 times. First listen, no pausing. Just understand the main idea. Second, listen. Pause and write down 5 words you clearly hear. Not 50. 5. Third, listen. Repeat one sentence out loud 5 times. That's day 1. And if you're thinking, that's too easy, good. Easy is what makes it repeatable. You're not trying to prove you're smart. You're trying to become consistent. Big difference. Now, let me hit you with a truth that people don't like. If you can't do the easy version, you don't deserve the hard version. If 15 minutes feels impossible, the problem isn't time. The problem is discipline. So day 1 ends with one small action. You leave a note for tomorrow. Literally, one line on paper. Day 2, shadowing. Put it where you'll see it when you wake up. Your brain needs a trigger. Stop relying on memory like a child. Okay. Day 2 is where the reset starts to feel real, because day 2 is shadowing basics. Shadowing means you speak at the same time as the audio, copying rhythm, speed, and intonation. Not reading silently, not repeating after long pauses, speaking with it. And no, your pronunciation doesn't need to be perfect to start. That's another excuse people hide behind. They say, I'll speak when I'm ready. You'll never feel ready. You become ready by speaking. Day 2. Routine. First, you warm up for 60 seconds. You say out loud, today I will sound stupid for 5 minutes, and I will still do it. Say it. Because adults hate feeling stupid, and that's why they stay quiet and stay average. Now play your same 1 to 3-minute clip. Round 1. Shadow with the audio at normal speed. Don't stop. Don't judge. Just try to keep up. Round 2. Shadow again, but this time, focus on ending sounds. Most learners destroy clarity because they drop endings. Worked, asked, next, first, started. In real English, endings matter. Even if your grammar is perfect, dropping endings makes you hard to understand. Round 3. Shadow again, but reduce your volume slightly. This sounds strange, but it forces you to listen harder and match the speaker instead of pushing your own accent loudly over the audio. Now stop the audio. Pick one sentence from the clip, the most useful one, not the longest one, the most useful. Something you would actually say in real life, and you drill it like a boxer drills punches. Say it slow, 3 times. Say it normal, 5 times. Say it fast, 3 times. Then you record yourself saying that one sentence 1 time. Just 1 time. You don't need to upload it anywhere. It's proof. Proof that you did the work. Here's the retention trick that keeps you from quitting on day 2. You don't aim for confidence. You aim for evidence. Every morning, you collect evidence that you are the type of person who practices English. Confidence comes after evidence, not before. Now, if you have a heavy accent, I'm going to say something that might save you months. Stop trying to sound American or sound British. In general, that's too vague. You're chasing a dream. Instead, copy one speaker's rhythm from one clip for 1 week. Specific beats vague every time. And if you're in a country where you rarely speak English, day 2 is still powerful because shadowing is speaking practice without needing a partner. No excuses. You can do it in your room, in your car, in a quiet corner before work. Shadowing is how you build muscle memory. By the end of day 2, you should feel one thing: a little bit less afraid of your own voice. Because fear is what kills consistency. Fear of sounding wrong, fear of being judged, fear of not improving fast enough. And fear makes people quit quietly, then pretend they're busy. Now, tomorrow is day 3, and day 3 is pronunciation focus, but not the fake pronunciation where you memorize random IPA symbols and still can't speak. Day 3 is where we take the exact clip you already used and we lock in the few sounds that actually change understanding, starting with the sounds you keep breaking without realizing, like the difference between ship and sheep, live and leave, think and sink, and the small but deadly habit of swallowing consonants at the ends of words. Because tomorrow morning, you're going to take your one useful sentence and isolate the two sounds that make it clear or unclear. And you're going to train them with a simple mouth position check that takes less than 2 minutes. Then you'll run the sentence again until it comes out clean enough that a stranger could understand you without guessing. And once you feel that shift, you'll realize something important. You don't need more motivation. You need a better process. And day 3 is where the process starts to sharpen, because you're about to stop practicing English like a hobby and start practicing it like a skill that pays you back in real life. So when you wake up tomorrow, do not open your phone first. Do not save it for later. Just and start the timer and go straight into the work. You're on day 3 now, and today is where most people mess up because they think pronunciation practice means watching random videos about accents, learning fancy symbols, and then still sounding unclear when they speak. That's not practice. That's entertainment. Real pronunciation improvement is simple. You take the exact sentence you're already using and you fix the 2 or 3 sounds that make you hard to understand. Not 30 sounds, not a whole accent, just the sounds that actually change meaning. So here's what you do the moment you wake up. You play your same 1 to 3 minute clip one time, no pausing, just to get your ear warmed up. Then you pick your one useful sentence from yesterday. The same sentence. Repetition is the point. Your brain learns faster when you stop switching materials like a distracted tourist. Now you run a fast clarity check. Ask yourself, when I say this sentence, where do I usually sound unclear? Most learners have the same 3 issues. They swallow word endings. They blur vowels, so everything sounds like They don't connect words, so they sound robotic. We're going to fix these in a tight routine. First, word endings. Look at your sentence and circle the last sound of each word. Not the last letter, the last sound. For example, worked ends with a T sound. Asked ends with a T sound. Next ends with kust. You don't need to pronounce every letter, but you do need a clean ending so the listener's brain can follow you. Do this drill. Speak the sentence slowly, but stop sharply at the end of each word like you're tapping a table. Tap, stop, tap, stop. It feels unnatural, yes. That's why it works. You're training your mouth to finish words instead of letting them die. Do it 3 times slow. Then do it once normal speed, but keep the endings. Second, vowels. You don't need to learn every vowel sound today. You only need to stop turning different vowels into the same lazy sound. The easiest way? Minimal pairs, but only with the words inside your sentence. If your sentence contains live, check if you're accidentally saying leave. If it contains ship, check if you're saying sheep. If it contains can, check if you're saying ken. You can quickly test this by exaggerating the vowel for one repetition, then narrowing it. Here's the mouth rule that helps without overthinking. If the vowel is long, your mouth stays open longer. If the vowel is short, your mouth closes faster. Say the target word alone 5 times. Then plug it back into the sentence. Third, connection. This is the difference between textbook English and real English. Native speakers don't speak like robots. They connect sounds to save effort. 2 connection rules you can apply instantly. If a word ends in a consonant and the next word starts with a vowel, connect them. Pick it up becomes pick it up. If a word ends in a T or D sound and the next word starts with a consonant, the TD may soften or disappear, but the rhythm stays. Next day often sounds like next day. The ending is still there, but it's lighter. Now here's how you practice connection without confusing yourself. You don't try to connect the whole sentence at once. You take it in chunks of 3 to 5 words. Chunk 1. Say it 5 times connected. Chunk 2. Say it 5 times connected. Then full sentence. 5 times. Now you record yourself saying the full sentence 3 times. Slow and clear. Normal. Slightly faster than normal. And you listen back to only one thing. Clarity. Not, do I sound native? That's ego. Ego will keep you stuck. Clarity is what makes people understand you in meetings, interviews, travel, customer support, school presentations, real life. One more thing that makes day 3 powerful. You keep the practice short. If you go too long, you burn out. If you keep it tight, you'll come back tomorrow. So your day 3 morning routine is 1. Listen through sentence endings drill. 1 vowel fix. Connection in chunks. Record 3 takes. That's it. 15 to 25 minutes. Then you move on with your day. And here's the hidden win. Every day you do this, your brain stops treating English as a big, scary project and starts treating it like brushing your teeth. Automatic. Now we shift, because tomorrow is where consistency gets tested. Tomorrow is where most people freeze, because tomorrow you're going to answer speaking prompts. And I know what you're thinking. I don't know what to say. That's the excuse everyone uses. But the real reason is fear. You're afraid of silence. You're afraid of making mistakes. You're afraid your brain will go blank. So we remove the fear by removing the decision-making. You're going to use speaking prompts that are structured, prompts that force you into simple sentences, prompts that don't require creativity. Because at this stage, you're not training creativity. You're training output. Here's your setup for tomorrow morning, and you do this tonight so you don't wake up and figure it out later. You write down 7 prompts on paper or in a note. Keep them simple and real, the kind of thing you'd actually talk about. What are you working on this week? What was difficult yesterday? What are you trying to improve right now? Describe your morning so far. What's one problem you want to solve? What's one thing you're grateful for? What's one goal for the next 7 days? No complicated topics, no debates, no politics, no abstract philosophy. Real life English wins. Tomorrow morning, you will choose one prompt only, not all 7. One, and you will speak for 60 seconds. But here's the twist that keeps you from panicking. You don't freestyle. You use a simple structure. 1 sentence answer, 2 details, 1 example, 1 closing sentence. So if the prompt is, "What are you working on this week?" your structure becomes, "Answer. This week I'm working on improving my English consistency." Detail 1. I usually start and stop, so I'm doing a 7-day reset. Detail 2. I'm focusing on one short clip every morning. Example. Yesterday I did shadowing, and today I fixed endings and connected speech. Close. My goal is to speak more confidently by the end of this week. That's real English. Simple, clear, useful. And when you do it with structure, you stop feeling lost. You stop waiting for the perfect words. You start moving. So tonight, prepare your prompt list. Tomorrow morning, you speak for 60 seconds. You record it. You do not judge it. You just collect evidence again. Because the entire point of this reset is to make your English independent from your emotions. Most people live like this. If they feel motivated, they practice. If they don't, they skip. That's not a learner, that's a gambler. You can't gamble your future on your mood. Tomorrow, you don't need motivation. You need a timer, 1 prompt, and 1 minute of courage. And if you're thinking 1 minute isn't enough, good. That means your standards are high. But right now, we're building consistency, not perfection. 1 minute every morning beats 0 minutes forever. So when you wake up tomorrow, you already know what to do. 1 prompt, 1 minute, 1 recording, and then you move on. Because the next step after speaking prompts is where everything starts to click into real conversation. Because the next step after speaking prompts is where everything starts to click into real conversation. So tomorrow morning, you wake up, you don't negotiate, and you do the 1 minute prompt exactly like a workout. Same structure, same timer, no drama. Start by playing your 1 3-minute clip one time, just to get English in your ears. Then put it away. Now it's you. Pick 1 prompt from your list. Set a 60-second timer. And speak using the structure. 1 sentence answer. 2 details. 1 example. 1 closing sentence. Here's the mistake that kills people on this day. They try to speak perfect English. They slow down, they translate, they panic, they restart every sentence. That's not speaking. That's performance anxiety. Your only job is to keep going. If you don't know a word, you replace it. If you make a grammar mistake, you keep going. Real communication isn't a test. It's a skill. And skills are built through messy repetition. If your brain goes blank, You don't stop. You use a rescue phrase. Write these down tonight because they will save you. Let me think for a second. How can I explain this simply? What I mean is, another way to say it is, the main point is, native speakers use these all the time. These phrases are not cheating. They're how you buy time and keep flow. Now record your 60 seconds. Not because you want to torture yourself, because recording creates accountability. When you record, you can't lie to yourself and pretend you practiced. But you're not going to re-record 20 times. That's another trap. You do 2 takes max. Take 1, normal. Take 2, slightly slower and clearer. Then you listen back 1 time and you only check 2 things. Did I finish my thoughts? Was I understandable? Not, did I sound native? Not, was my grammar perfect? Understandable beats impressive. Always. Now here's the retention trick that keeps people watching and actually doing this. You're not building English. You're building identity. You're becoming the type of person who speaks English every morning, even when you don't feel like it. That identity is what makes consistency automatic. And once you've done your 1-minute talk, you do one more small thing. You pull one sentence from your recording that you like. A real sentence. Something useful. For example, this week I'm trying to build consistency, not perfection. Or, I usually stop when it gets hard, so I'm training myself to keep going. Write it down. Say it out loud 5 times. That's how you turn speaking into reusable language. Now, your brain is going to try to trick you at this point. It will say, I already did 1 minute, that's enough. And yes, that's enough for the habit. But we're going to add 1 bonus minute that multiplies your progress. You take your 1 useful sentence and you shadow it with rhythm like you did earlier. Say it slow. 3 times. Normal. 5 times. Fast. 3 times. You just connected day 2, shadowing, with day 4, speaking. That's not random. That's a system. And when the system starts working, you'll feel it. English stops being something you study and becomes something you do. Now we move to the next day, and this is where your fluency jumps. Because the next skill is retelling. Retelling is the bridge between input and output. Most learners do one of 2 dumb things. They only consume content and never speak. Or they try to speak without enough input, so they repeat the same simple words forever. Retelling fixes both. It forces you to understand, organize, and speak. And the best part? Retelling is exactly how real conversations work. Someone tells you something. You respond. You summarize. You react. That's life. So when you wake up for this session, you're going to use the same clip you've been using all week. Again, repetition. Stop chasing new materials like a dopamine addict. Here's the retelling routine. First, listen. Normal speed, no pause. After the listen, you answer one question out loud. What was this about? And you must answer in 1 sentence only. 1 sentence forces clarity. Example. It was about building a morning routine to improve consistency in English. Second, listen. Now you pause and capture 3 key points. Only 3. If you write 10 points, you're weak. You're hiding behind notes because you're scared to speak. 3 points is enough. Your 3 points should be simple. Main idea. One example. One takeaway. Third. Listen. Now you retell the clip in your own words for 30 seconds. And here's the rule that makes your retelling sound natural. You're allowed to use simple words. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to communicate. Now increase to 60 seconds. Retell again, but add one personal opinion sentence at the end. For example, I like this approach because it's realistic and easy to repeat. Now add one personal connection. This reminds me of how I start strong and then stop after a few days. That's it. That's real speaking. That's what people actually do in conversation. Summarize and relate. Now record your 60-second retell. Then listen back once. And you're going to notice something powerful. You're not just repeating English. You're creating English. That's the shift from learner to speaker. But there's one more move that makes retelling explode your progress. You retell it twice in 2 styles. Style 1. Explain it to a friend. Casual, simple, natural. Style 2. Explain it in a work meeting. More structured, more direct, clearer. Same content, different style. That's how you build flexibility fast. Now, if you're thinking, I can't do this, I'll forget everything. Good. That fear is normal. Here's the trick. You're not supposed to remember every word. You're supposed to remember the meaning. If you forget a word, replace it. Routine becomes daily plan. Consistency becomes doing it every day. Pronunciation becomes clear speaking. This is what fluent people do. They don't freeze when they forget a word. They go around it. You're training that skill now. And this is where the morning routine becomes addictive, because you start seeing proof, not motivation. Proof. You will feel more comfortable speaking. You will stop panicking when you don't know a word. You will start finishing your thoughts. And once you can retell, you're ready for the next level. Short conversation simulation. Because retelling is still you talking. Conversation simulation adds pressure. Small, controlled pressure that prepares you for real people. Tomorrow, you'll take the same topic you retold, and you'll practice a simple back and forth, like a mini dialogue. With questions and answers, you can repeat until it feels automatic. Starting with the most common question patterns that happen in real life, like, what do you mean? Well, can you give me an example? Why is that important? And what would you recommend? And once you can answer those smoothly, you'll notice something crazy. Real conversations stop feeling scary because you've already rehearsed the exact moves your brain needs to make under pressure. Because you've already rehearsed the exact moves your brain needs to make under pressure. So now we turn that pressure on. Small, controlled, repeatable. This is how you stop being good at studying and start being good at speaking in real situations. You're going to simulate a conversation, but you're not going to do it in a complicated way. Most learners overcomplicate and then quit. We're going to keep it clean. Same morning rules. Timer, no phone scrolling. Same resource, same calm focus. Start with your 1 to 3 minute clip one time, just to switch your brain into English. Then you put it away and you begin. Pick the same topic you've been working on all week. The reset routine, consistency, learning habits, whatever your clip is about. The topic doesn't matter as much as the pattern. Conversation simulation means two roles. Person A asks, person B answers. You will play both roles out loud. Yes, it feels weird. So what? Feeling weird is not an emergency. Adults love comfort, and that's why most adults never get fluent. Here's the exact structure. You prepare 6 questions. These are real-life questions that happen in every conversation, in every country, in every context. They are simple, but deadly effective. What do you mean? Can you give me an example? Why is that important? What's the biggest challenge? What would you recommend? How can someone start? Now the routine. You ask question 1 out loud as person A. Then you answer as person B for 20 to 30 seconds. Then question 2. Answer. Question 3. Answer. And so on. The key is that your answers follow a repeatable formula so you never go blank. Use this answer formula for every question. Main point, 1 sentence. Reason, 1 sentence. Example, 1 sentence. Short close, 1 sentence. That's it, 4 sentences. If you can do 4 sentences, you can do conversation. Let me show you how this sounds with a topic like consistency. Person A. What do you mean? Person B. I mean your English improves when you practice regularly, not randomly. The biggest problem is people study only when they feel motivated. For example, they study 3 hours one day and then stop for a week. A small daily routine works better than big sessions once in a while. Person A. Can you give me an example? Person B. Sure. One example is using one short audio clip every morning for 7 days. You listen, shadow, and speak for 1 minute. That's enough to build momentum. After a week, showing up feels normal. Notice what's happening. It's simple, but it's real. That's the point. Now, your job is not to create perfect answers. Your job is to keep the rhythm of interaction. Ask, answer, ask, answer. Flow. Here's how you make it even more realistic. Add reaction phrases at the start of your answers. This makes you sound natural immediately. Use, yeah, so. Good question. Honestly, to be clear, the main thing is one phrase. Then you go into your 4-sentence formula. Now record this simulation. You don't need video. Audio is enough. Recording forces you to stay honest. When you listen back, you check only one thing. Did you respond smoothly without long silence? If you paused, that's not failure. That's feedback. You identify where you paused, and you create a default line for that moment. Example. Default lines. I'm still thinking about the best way to explain it. Let me start with the main idea. Here's a simple way to look at it. These lines keep you moving. Movement creates confidence. Now, after you do the 6-question simulation once, you do a second round, but shorter. Second round rule. Each answer is only 2 sentences. This trains speed and clarity. In real conversation, Long answers can be messy. Two sentences forces you to choose the essential meaning. So round two sounds like Person A. Why is that important? Person B. Because consistency builds automatic progress. If you practice every morning, your English becomes part of your identity. That's clean. That's powerful. Now you've just trained. Listening from the clip, speaking from prompts and retelling, interaction from simulation, clarity from short answers. This is why the reset works. You're not doing random activities, you're stacking skills. But we're not done, because tomorrow is the day that separates people who practice from people who actually communicate. The recap speech. Most people avoid speaking in one continuous piece because it exposes everything: weak vocabulary, weak structure, weak confidence. That's why they hide in apps and exercises forever. Tomorrow, you're going to record a 1-minute, week recap speech. Not because 1 minute is magical, because 1 minute is enough to prove you have control. Before we go there, you need one more thing today: a simple conversation extender. In real life, when you answer a question, the best speakers don't stop. They extend. They keep the conversation alive. Here are 3 extender moves you can use instantly. Add a question back. After you answer, ask, "How about you?" Or, "What do you usually do?" Add a short personal detail. After you answer, add, "For me, mornings are the only time I can stay consistent." Add a small recommendation. After you answer, add, "If you want to try it, start with 10 minutes." These extenders are the difference between awkward and natural. So do one more mini practice today. Pick any 2 of your questions from the list and answer them. Then extend with one of the 3 moves. Record that too. Example. Person A. How can someone start? Person B. They can start with one short audio clip every morning. 10 minutes is enough to build the habit. If you try it tomorrow, what time do you usually wake up? Now you're talking like a real person, not a textbook. And here's the psychological win. Once you can simulate conversation alone, real conversations become less intimidating. You're not walking into chaos. You're walking into something you've rehearsed. That's the whole point of training. Now, tomorrow's 1-minute recap speech will combine everything you've built: structure from prompts, clarity from pronunciation, flow from retelling, responsiveness from simulation. You're going to tell a short story of your week in English, and it will sound like you, not like a memorized script. Tonight, do one thing to prepare. Write a simple 4-line outline for the recap. Line 1, what you did this week. Line 2, what was hard. Line 3, what improved. Line 4, what you'll do next week. That's it. 4 lines. Because tomorrow morning, you won't be thinking of what to say. You'll just speak. And when you speak, you'll realize something that should honestly make you angry. You were never bad at English. You were just inconsistent. You were just untrained. You were just letting comfort control you. Tomorrow, you prove you're done with that. Tomorrow, you prove you're done with that. You wake up, you don't touch social media, and you go straight into your 1-minute recap speech. This is the moment where everything you practiced becomes one clean, real output. Start the same way. Play your short clip one time. not to study, just to switch your brain into English. Then you put it away and you speak. You already prepared your 4-line outline last night. Line 1, what you did this week. Line 2, what was hard. Line 3, what improved. Line 4, what you'll do next week. Now you turn those 4 lines into a 1-minute speech. Here's the structure that makes it sound natural and not robotic. Opening. One sentence that sets the scene. Body. 2 to 3 sentences. What you did plus what was hard. Progress. 1 to 2 sentences. What improved. Next step. 1 sentence. What you'll do next. Close. 1 sentence. A simple emotional statement. You speak it once, record it, and you do not restart every time you make a mistake. You finish. Finishing is the win. Most people never finish, so they never build confidence. Here's an example you can model, but don't memorize it word for word. Use your own week. This week, I did a 7-day English reset in the mornings. I used one short audio clip and I practiced shadowing, pronunciation, prompts, retelling, and a short conversation simulation. The hardest part was starting when I felt tired, because my brain kept looking for excuses. But after a few days, speaking felt less scary, and I could finish my thoughts more easily. Next week, I'm going to keep the same routine, but I'll increase my speaking time to 2 minutes. I'm not chasing perfection. I'm building consistency. That's clean. That's real. That's what progress sounds like. Now do a second take, but this time make it 10 clearer. Slower, stronger endings, more connected speech. Not better English, better delivery. Then you listen back and you score yourself on only 3 things. Did I speak for a full minute without stopping? Was my structure clear? Was I understandable? If yes, you've won the reset. Because once you can produce a structured 1-minute speech, you can grow from there indefinitely. Now here's what most people do next. They celebrate for 1 day and then disappear. That's how weak habits die. So instead of stopping at the end of the week, you lock it in with a simple maintenance routine that takes even less effort. But before that, there's one final move that makes this week stick long term. You create a replay loop. A replay loop means you take the same speech you just recorded and you turn it into tomorrow's practice material. This is how you stop depending on external resources and start generating your own training content. Here's how to do it. Step 1. Listen to your 1-minute recap once. Step 2. Write down 5 phrases you used naturally. Not fancy phrases, real ones you actually said. Examples. This week I did. The hardest part was. After a few days, I noticed that. Next week I'm going to. Step 3. Choose the best 2 phrases and drill them out loud, 10 times each. This is how you build automatic English. Automatic English is not vocabulary. It's reusable sentence patterns. Now, because you're serious, you're going to add one more layer. Improvement through compression. Take your 1-minute recap and compress it into 30 seconds. Same meaning, fewer words. This is one of the fastest ways to build fluency because it forces your brain to choose the essential message. People who can compress are the ones who sound confident. So 30-second version might sound like, this week I followed a 7-day morning reset for English. I practiced with one short clip and focused on speaking every day. The hardest part was starting when I felt tired, but I got more comfortable finishing my thoughts. Next week, I'll keep going and increase speaking time. Now compress again into 15 seconds. This week, I practiced English every morning for 7 days. It was hard to start, but speaking became easier. Next week, I'll continue and speak longer. Now you can expand and compress. That skill is conversation power. Because in real life, sometimes you need a long explanation. Sometimes you need a short answer. You just trained both. Now we transition into what happens after the 7-day reset, because this is where people either become consistent for months or they relapse into chaos. The maintenance routine is simple: 12 minutes a day. Yes, 12, not 60, not 2 hours. Because the goal now is to keep the streak alive, even when life gets busy. Here's the 12-minute maintenance routine. Minute 1 to 3. Listen to your short clip once. Minute 4 to 6. Shadow one sentence from it. Minute 7 to 9. Answer one prompt for 60 seconds. Minute 10, 12. Retell the clip in 30 seconds. That's it. And if you're extra busy, you do the minimum viable version. One sentence shadowed 10 times. One 30-second talk recorded. Even that keeps the habit alive. Now I'm going to say something blunt because it's the truth. The reason you've failed before is not because you didn't know what to do. You've watched enough tips. You've saved enough videos. You've downloaded enough apps. The reason you failed is because you kept making it too big, too emotional, too negotiable. This reset makes it small, repeatable, and non-negotiable. And if you're living in a country where English matters for your career, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Brazil, Mexico, Turkey, Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Kenya. This is not just learning a language. This is upgrading your income options, your confidence, your global mobility. English is leverage, so treat it like leverage. Protect it. Now there's one more trick that will keep you from falling off after this week. You set a same time rule. Not same hour, same time. You choose one consistent time in the morning that you can realistically keep. Maybe it's right after you drink water. Maybe it's after you shower. Maybe it's before breakfast. You attach English to an existing habit. Because habits stick when they're attached. And if you miss a day, you follow the never twice rule. You can miss once, but you never miss twice. Miss twice, and you start building the identity of a quitter again. So if you miss Monday, Tuesday is non-negotiable. Period. Now, you're almost done with the whole system. But there's one last piece that makes everything feel easier. How to choose the right one resource going forward so you don't accidentally pick content that's too hard and then blame yourself, and how to scale this routine from 15 minutes to real conversation confidence without adding more time. Just adding smarter steps. And how to scale this routine from 15 minutes to real conversation confidence without adding more time. Just adding smarter steps. First, Let's solve the one resource problem, because this is where your consistency gets sabotaged by your own ego. Most people pick content that's too hard. They do it because it feels ambitious. Then they understand 30s, feel stupid, and quit. That's not ambition. That's self-sabotage. Your resource is correct if you can do all of these. You understand the main idea after 1 to 2 listens. You can shadow at least 60 of the sentences without stopping. You can retell the content in simple words for 30 seconds. If you can't do that, the content is too hard right now. Drop the difficulty and win with repetition. Winning builds momentum. Momentum builds consistency. Consistency builds fluency. Now here's the simple system to pick your resource in 3 minutes. Step 1. Choose content between 45 seconds and 3 minutes. Step 2. Test it once. If you feel lost, it's too hard. Step 3. If it's perfect and boring, it might be too easy, but for habit building, it's still okay. Step 4. Confirm it has clear audio and one speaker, at least for your first 2 weeks. One speaker matters because your brain is training rhythm and sound patterns. Too many voices early on creates chaos. Now, the second thing people get wrong. They think improvement comes from adding more time. Not necessarily. You can scale your results by scaling the quality of your repetitions. Same 15 minutes, better steps. Here are 3 smart upgrades that take 0 extra time. Upgrade 1. Replace passive listening with active prediction. When you play your short clip, don't just listen. Pause before a sentence finishes and predict the next 2-3 words. Even if you're wrong, you're training anticipation, and anticipation is what makes real-time listening possible. Do it for 60 seconds only. That's enough. Upgrade 2. Use micro-shadowing. Instead of shadowing the whole clip, choose one 8 to 12 second segment and shadow it 10 times. This is how singers practice. This is how athletes practice. They don't do the whole thing once. They repeat the hardest part until it becomes automatic. Pick the segment where you stumble. That's your gold mine. Upgrade 3. Build a personal sentence bank. Every morning you create one sentence that you can use in real life. Not from a textbook, from your own mouth. Examples. I'm trying to be more consistent with my English. I'm working on speaking more clearly, not perfectly. I don't want to start over again, so I'm keeping it simple. Write it down. Say it 10 times. Use it later in the day if you get a chance. Now, let's talk about the real-world problem. I don't have people to speak with. That excuse is common worldwide, and it's understandable, but it's also fixable. You don't need a partner to train conversation. You need a script pattern and repetition. You already did the simulation. Now we make it closer to real life with something called variable practice. Variable practice means you keep the structure the same, but you change small details each time. That's how you stop sounding memorized. Here's how you do it with the same 6 questions. You keep the 4-sentence answer formula, but you change. The example, the reason, the recommendation. So today you talk about morning routine. Tomorrow you talk about work. Next day you talk about health. Same question patterns, new content. This makes you flexible without needing new materials. Now there's another trap that destroys learners after a good week. They jump into random conversations and get overwhelmed. They hear fast speech, slang, interruptions, and they freeze. Then they think they're still bad. That's not the truth. The truth is, you trained in a controlled environment, and you need a bridge to chaotic real life. Here's the bridge. Short conversation missions. A mission is one tiny real interaction that lasts 30 to 90 seconds. You don't need to find an English-speaking friend. You can do this online or in daily life. Examples of missions. Send a 30-second voice message in English to a language partner. Ask a simple question in an English learning community. Leave a short comment under a video in English, but structured, not random. If you work in customer service, practice one English line you might actually need. The key: missions are small enough that you'll actually do them. Now, how do you make a mission not scary? You use a starter plus question template. Starter lines. I'm practicing English and I want to improve my speaking. I'm doing a 7-day reset and I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm training myself to speak more clearly. Then one simple question. What's one tip that helped you stay consistent? How do you practice speaking when you're busy? Do you think shadowing helps? This turns speaking into a controlled action, not a performance. Now, let's lock the next stage. How to avoid plateau. Most learners plateau because they keep repeating what they already can do. Comfort zone practice feels good, but it doesn't grow you. The solution is a one tiny push rule. Every day, you add one tiny push, not 10. Tiny pushes you can rotate. Speak 15 seconds longer than yesterday. Use one new connector. Because, however, for example, the main reason is improve one pronunciation point, endings, linking, stress. Replace one simple word with a better one. Good, useful, big, important, hard, challenging. One push per day keeps you improving without burnout. Now, here's the piece nobody wants to hear, but it's real. Consistency is not about discipline alone. It's also about environment. If you wake up and your phone is right next to your face, you're fighting a battle every morning. Stop making it a battle. Put your phone on the other side of the room, or at least outside your bed. Your brain is weak when it's half asleep. Don't test your willpower like a fool. Make the routine the easiest option. Headphones ready. Clip ready. Notebook ready. Timer ready. This is what serious people do. They don't rely on motivation. They design systems. Now, you've built the reset. You've learned how to choose a resource, and you've learned how to scale without adding time. The last thing we need is the long-term loop that keeps you improving month after month without getting bored. And the loop is simple. You rotate the weekly focus. Week A, pronunciation and shadowing heavy. Week B, speaking prompts and retelling heavy. Week C, conversation simulation and missions heavy. Same routine length, different emphasis. This keeps your brain engaged while still staying consistent. Now the final step is turning this into a commitment that actually starts tomorrow, not someday. Because someday is where dreams go to die. You're going to choose your start time, choose your one resource, and comment one word to make it real. Then you begin tomorrow morning with zero drama, and you keep going until consistency stops being something you chase and becomes something you own. Becomes something you own. And I need you to understand this clearly. If you've tried to learn English for years and you still feel stuck, it's not because you're stupid. It's not because you're too old. It's not because you live in the wrong country. It's because you've been practicing like an amateur, randomly, emotionally, only when you feel like it. That's the truth. And if that truth hurts, good. Pain wakes people up. This 7-day reset works because it does the opposite of what most learners do. It removes chaos. It removes decision fatigue. It removes the daily question of, what should I study? And replaces it with a system you can repeat even on your worst day. Now listen, your life will try to steal this from you. Work gets busy. Family needs you. You wake up tired. You travel. You get sick. And the old version of you will whisper, skip today. You can restart tomorrow. That voice sounds reasonable. That voice sounds gentle. But that voice is poison. Because tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. And then you're still the same person. Still watching videos. Still saving tips. Still dreaming. So here's the rule that protects your future. You don't restart. You resume. If you miss a day, you don't become dramatic. You don't punish yourself. You don't quit. You resume the next morning. And you never miss twice. Never. Missing twice is how habits die. And here's the mindset shift that turns you into someone who actually improves. You stop asking, did I feel motivated? And you start asking, did I show up? Showing up is the entire game. Because English is not a single moment of inspiration. It's 1,000 small repetitions. It's the boring work that weak people avoid and strong people quietly do. Now, let me make this practical and real for you in any country, any schedule, any level. If you only have 10 minutes in the morning, you do this. Shadow one sentence. 10 times. Speak one prompt for 30 seconds and record it. That's it. That's a win. And if you do that every day for a month, you'll be a completely different speaker than the person who studies for 3 hours once a week and then disappears. If you have 20 minutes, you do the full routine. One short listen, micro shadow 1-minute speaking output. Short retell or simulation. If you have more time, sure, add more. But never let more become the requirement. The requirement is always the minimum. Minimum keeps you consistent. Consistency makes you dangerous. Now, you might be thinking, but what about vocabulary? What about grammar? Here's the reality. Vocabulary and grammar grow fastest when they're attached to speaking. When you speak, you notice gaps. When you notice gaps, you remember new words. When you repeat those words in your own sentences, they stick. Most people do vocabulary like collecting stamps. They memorize lists. They feel productive. Then they try to speak, and their brain goes blank. Because words that never leave your mouth don't belong to you. This is why your sentence bank matters. This is why you drill patterns. This is why you record yourself. You're turning English into usable language, not trivia. And grammar? Grammar improves when you recycle correct structures repeatedly, not when you read rules once and hope your brain magically applies them under pressure. So as you continue after this reset, you keep one simple rule. Every week, you choose one structure to reuse. Examples. I'm trying to because kikik. The main reason is hako kik. One example is kich. What I mean is hacha is kakish. If I had to choose one thing, it would be mchas. You reuse one structure all week in your prompts, retells, and simulations. Then next week, you rotate. That's how grammar becomes automatic. Now let's talk about confidence, because that's what you actually want. You don't just want better English. You want to feel confident speaking it. Confidence comes from two things: preparation, evidence. Preparation is your morning routine. Evidence is your recordings. When you hear your own progress over time, your brain stops arguing with you. It can't. The evidence is there. This is also why you don't delete recordings. Keep them, even if they sound messy, especially if they sound messy. 1 month from now, you'll listen back and realize how far you've come. And that realization fuels the next month. Now here's the truth about fluency that nobody sells because it's not sexy. Fluency is not speaking fast. Fluency is speaking without fear. Fluency is finishing your thoughts even with simple words. Fluency is staying calm when you forget a word. Fluency is being understandable. And understandability comes from clear endings, basic stress and rhythm connected speech, simple structure, staying in motion. You trained all of that in 7 days. So what happens next? Next, you run the system again for another week, but with slightly harder input or slightly longer output. Not both. One tiny push. Always. Possible week 2 upgrades. Keep the same clip length, but speak for 2 minutes instead of 1. Keep speaking 1 minute, but use a slightly faster clip. Keep everything the same, but add 2 short conversation missions during the week. That's how you scale without burning out. And if you want to get serious, if you want to move from "I'm learning English" to "I use English," you start using your morning routine to prepare for real situations. Pick a context that matters to you: job interviews, customer calls, travel conversations, school presentations, networking, online freelancing, and remote work. Then your prompts and simulations become targeted. Example: if you need English for work, your prompts become explain what you do, describe a problem you solved, give an update on a project, ask for clarification politely. And you rehearse those until they're automatic. That's how English becomes money. That's how English becomes opportunity. That's how English stops being a hobby and becomes leverage. Now let me end this with a final warning and a final push. The warning: don't be one of those soft people who consumes motivation and calls it progress. Don't be the person who says, "I'll start Monday" for the next 5 years. That's not bad luck. That's weakness disguised as planning. The push: you don't need talent. You need a start time and a system. So here's what you do right now. Choose one resource, set your morning timer, and commit to starting tomorrow. Comment "reset" and "start tomorrow." no drama.